Have you ever encountered a child who is somewhat rude, or maybe perhaps it's you who have encountered a child who is misbehaving? Today I'm going to teach you 3 methods to deal with these kind of children, and you can do it within today. So why I say using visual schedules or visual timer is always my number one tip is because visual is king. Letting a child see what you want to expect from them, and especially using a timer, allows them to kind of understand what the frame of the situation is, and that also allows you as the adult to take control of the situation. Of course, this is not always ideal. Always the child either stops or the child will continue the misbehaving. But the number one rule is to always use something visual, whether it could be a visual schedule, visual timer, or just writing it down in words. So my number 2 tip is to use boundaries. With children, no matter if they are misbehaving or no matter they are children in the classroom, what we as adults should always do is to set boundaries. Boundaries is just another word for rules, and what we want to establish with these children who misbehave is to establish a firm boundary. So for example, I'm gonna pretend that there's a child in front of me right now, and I'm gonna say, and he's misbehaving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm noticing that you are not following the instruction right now, and I do not appreciate what you're doing right now. So can we please get back to what we planned, which is maybe a homework or maybe a reading or anything that you are doing at the moment. So usually the child do either one of these 2 things. Number one, he or she will understand the social expectation from you because you set the boundaries. The child will eventually understand that, oh, okay, I'm gonna follow this adult because the child is misbehaving, the child is realizing that, and most likely the child will follow. Or number 2, the child will recognize that you are trying to set a boundary, and the child will keep on continuing doing whatever he or she wants to do. And so that's when you go to the 3rd tips that I'm going to give to you. So the tip number 3 that I'm going to give to you is one of my personal favorites. I like it when children misbehave, and I like when they try to go out of their ways just to break boundaries or just do the things they want to do, because that sets up for just one thing. Sets up for us to be able to set the firm boundary with them, to be able to set them and check their behavior, because I firmly believe in misbehaviors will eventually turn into good behaviors, and without all these misbehaviors we wouldn't able to understand what the child the frame of mindset and what they want to do at the point. So my 3rd tip for you is to check them, as in what I mean by that is, okay, let's for example say the child is still misbehaving after the first 2 steps, and then you say, okay, I already mentioned that you need to follow whatever the activity. Okay, you need to follow the activity, but you're not doing it. May I understand why? Or can you tell me why? Or is there a reason why you're doing this? Or is there a reason for you to do this right now? So that usually allows them to just pause, reflect, and think back on their behaviors, whether it is the right thing to do at the moment or not. And that is usually one of the most powerful techniques that I can suggest to any adults to handle children with misbehaviors, because most of the children that I deal with who are misbehaving, they actually know what they are doing, even those children with special needs. So whenever I check them using the visual timer, using the boundaries, they usually are able to self-correct themselves within the first 2 to 3 times, because especially in the classroom. If you're in a classroom environment, that's even better, because you are as an adult, you as a teacher, you are able to manipulate the things around in the classroom to facilitate the results that you want. But we'll talk about that in another video. But that is also an important thing for you to do as a teacher. Well, you might say, hey, what about at home? So at home, what you can do is, of course, you cannot control everything in the house, but you can control the rules in the house because, again, you're the adult. And let's, for example, say, oh, the child is playing, but he's supposed to do work. So you say, again, number one, use a visual schedule. You set out the schedule like a timetable for him or her, and then if or she doesn't really follow it, you check them. Number two, set boundaries. Say that, hey, I noticed that you didn't do your work, but why are you playing? So that usually just gets them up and go and do the work. If number three, they still misbehave, they still do things, so you just check. Okay, I already told you once. I don't think I need to tell you again what you need to do. So please do what you need to do right now. And that usually lets them think, in their own way, how to go about. And in a way, and the longer you do this, the more compliant they will get with you. And of course, it's going to be rough at the start, but towards the end, we're thinking about the end goal right now. So that brings me to my bonus tip for you. So the bonus tip I have for you is, throughout all these 3 steps, you absolutely need to do a calm, neutral tone. What I mean by that is, you don't shout, you don't use anger with them, you don't try to threaten, you don't use guilt. That is, these 4 are the main ones that I normally notice among adults. So especially in the school environment where everything is so stressful, it's understandable. I'm not blaming the teachers, I just observe what I observe. So it's very normal. But I think that there is always a better way to do things, and that is to use a calm, neutral tone, to use a visual schedule, to set boundaries with them, and then to check them, ask them why, ask them to explain themselves, so they are able to rationalize their current behavior. So that is my 3 tips and a bonus for you today. So if you implement these tips, I guarantee you, one day you might not get results, fine. If you get, good. A week, hey. If you get it, good. If not, try again. 1 month, even a year. What the goal of all this is not to have a quick fix. We want a long-term solution for the children, so they are able to rationalize themselves, to be able to think for themselves, to be able to be independent, because we can do so much for them in the controlled environment, which means at home and at school. But when they are out, when they grow up and they are in their own environments, when they are with friends, they need to understand what they can and cannot do, and it's up to us to teach them first. Otherwise, it's gonna be hard for them when they grow up, and then they hit a wall, and then they realize, oh, I didn't know this when I was younger, I should have learned this when I was younger, etc., etc. Of course, many factors come into play. I'm just sharing my experience and what works and what doesn't work with the students I teach. By the way, the students that I teach, they are mostly special needs, autism mainly. So my theory is that if it works for special needs children, it should work for most children. Well, that's my theory at least. And I've been testing it in school environment, in classroom environments, and I find it to be very, very true. Because, well, it just works. I just believe that it works because, yeah. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Like, comment, subscribe if it helps you in any way. I will be putting links down below to link you to a few articles, or a link to my website that shows you the exact breakpoint that I did today, so that it can help you in any way. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Hope you like, comment and subscribe, because it helps with the channel. Thank you.